So I'll say it, that's a trash pick, and we're not going to touch that one. Let's get rich in crypto by looking at 10x gains, 50x gains, 100x altcoin gems. We're going to look at different factors that make a cryptocurrency successful as an investment. And when is it time to sell? What kind of factors can we look at when we should start selling? Because you don't want to wait until 100x, because that won't happen and you're going to round trip and hold your coins to zero. So if you want to successfully invest in the market, learn from my pain by watching this entire video. I'm Dan, and let's dive in. Before we jump in, there are 4 things you need to know, and the first thing is not a lot of coins outperform Bitcoin long term. Just in the last year, during a bull market, less than 60 cryptocurrencies have outperformed Bitcoin. So we want to think, is the cryptocurrency we're investing something we want to hold long term, or do we hold it short term until it stops going up and then maybe we sell for Bitcoin or something else, or we start reassessing our portfolio? So even when you see something that says, hey, this coin is gonna 100x, you do not wait for that coin to 100x. You wait for it to start losing momentum, or you just take profits when you're comfortable. No one can really tell you when the top is, but you can definitely see that decline over time. So you always want to take profits, and you never want to wait for those 100x gains. You want to take profits when you can. This is one of the biggest mistakes new investors make, and that's not knowing when to sell. Now, the second thing is, in a bull market, altcoins will outperform Bitcoin in the short term. So that's why when people are saying alt season, when they're saying 30x, 100x gains, that is the maximum potential, but realistically, you can go with the market average. A lot of the cryptocurrencies are just going to go up maybe 100%, maybe 500%, and not much more than that. I know that sounds great, but there's no guarantee it's going to happen. So we want to pick the winners. We want to identify what is going to drive attention to a coin, and that's going to be the biggest factor when it comes to outperforming competitors. Because most cryptocurrencies do not generate enough revenue to justify their market cap. Now, market cap is just a meme during a bull market. It doesn't matter. Revenue doesn't matter. What matters is marketing and sentiment. What are they saying about that project? What is the community sentiment about it? Are people excited? Now, I learned the hard way. That's what made Doge successful. It had a strong community. There was no product behind it, and it was just very simple. Create a cult community behind it, and that'll bring in more users into buying that coin. And when it comes to other projects with a revenue model, well, there are limitations on how high it can go, even if there is demand. And the fourth thing is, if you're looking for 20x, 50x, 100x, 1000x gains, that requires 1000x risk, where you're taking a lot of risk in smaller projects that might not make it, and you kind of lose out on that earning potential of an investment that is going up already, that does have the community behind it, that does have the marketing, the attention, and the capability of bringing on more users. So there are a lot of different opportunities. I know you're in crypto, you want to make those 100x gains, and the one thing I can tell you from experience is, if you want to find those gains, you have to look for an emerging ecosystem that is a new blockchain, a new application on there that hasn't launched a token yet. Maybe you get an airdrop, maybe you're in that community early, and that's when the biggest opportunities happen. Now, if you want to learn more and just get deeper into this stuff, just join the live streams or join our community, Off Brand Crypto, where we can walk you through this, where we have these discussions and we deep dive into the latest trends. Let's start off with altcoin buzz. So a lot of bullish news here, and that hasn't really paid off. So what you should know is sentiment is an indicator. So if you're bullish on something, it might be bullish, but there's no guarantee that any of these things will actually happen. 500% pump on XRP, that did not happen. I get it. It's clickbait. You're a creator. You want to get people to watch the video. So we just want to set those expectations to be realistic, and we want to know what drives the price up or down depending on the coin and sentiments and different narratives happening in crypto. So let's take a look at a couple coins they're talking about. Let's say 100x altcoin gems because we want to be rich right now. Okay, and we got ads here. I'm into AI stuff, so we're going to see some AI ads there. And let's see if we can skip forward. So first coin here, Thena. Oh my God, I remember this coin. It's an old one, and if we look at the chart, yeah, that's the 1 month. Here's the all-time high. It's struggling with a $41 million market cap, fully diluted. Let's see what Thena is. I know it is on BNB chain. A lot of revenue from these decentralized exchanges never make it back to the token. So yeah, not there's not going to be any narrative there. That's not something I would touch, and there's no 100x. If you're looking at 100x, you're thinking that this would go to $30. I don't believe in it. Now, what would drive the price up for this is if people start trading, if there's some kind of burn mechanism. I don't know the tokenomics, so we can research that incredibly quickly by going into X, and we are going to copy the handle. We're going to our buddy Grok. What are the tokenomics? We want to know what that is. It's going to let us know. The easiest way to do crypto research is with Grok. And we see it is the utility token for ThenaFi protocol. Tokenomics, gauge voting, initial distribution, circulating emissions, yada, yada, yada. And if I don't want to read all of that, I just ask Grok, how does the token get value? And then we'll have our answer. So it comes from the utility. It does not come from governance. Liquidity incentives, that's actually worse. Revenue sharing, so a portion of the transaction fees is distributed to token holders. So yeah, it's good. It's not the best kind of model to drive demand. And of course, there's speculation. Now, speculation is the biggest driver for token price. If people believe in the token and it has a strong story and people want to buy it, then that token's going to go up regardless of tokenomics. But for the most part, no decentralized exchange gets that type of attention for it to 100x, especially when there are a ton of different competitors that are just going to copy that model. So he's probably bag holding. I'm gonna be honest with you. No, it's gonna sound like I'm attacking him, but no, that's a terrible pick. I'm not gonna pick that one. Sometimes it's easier to cheat and just look at the description. TARS AI. So let's take a look at that. $65 million market cap, fully diluted, 73, not bad. It's been around for over a year. It is built on Solana, and let's take a look at the website. Now, AI is a big narrative, but it is competitive. A lot of people are making very similar things without delivering something that has any demand yet, so I would be very cautious about it. And a lot of things are wrappers for existing AI products. So if we look at the performance of the token so far, not amazing. And let's find out more from our buddy Grok. So again, we are going to X, we're going to copy the handle, going into Grok. In simple terms, what is... So TARS protocol is a blockchain built on Solana designed to integrate AI with decentralized technology. Okay. Now, the key thing to note here is that it is a marketplace for AI-driven projects, which is great, but it's pretty easy to start up a marketplace. There isn't a lot of moat there where can another competitor just come in and do the same thing? Yes. And in my opinion, there doesn't seem to be a lot of demand for Web3 AI projects when compared to Web 2, where it iterates so much faster and a lot of the services are cheap and free. And AI is a very competitive and risky space, which I learned earlier this year. A lot of promises without the demand yet. So 100x, I'd say we're gonna have to be very careful of that. And then we have CoinX and Vader AI. So these would not be on my list. Let's move on to Elliotrades. So obviously, a lot of different coins, a lot of different picks, and there's not a lot of loyalty, and I get it. Making these videos is entertaining. It's literally all entertainment because it's not financial advice, because realistically, we know it's not going to happen. And I'd say it's just an indicator of how bullish they are on certain tokens or protocols. So I was like, all right, 1000x, we can clearly see that's Aerodrome and Pudgy Penguins, 100x, Ton, Virtuals, 50x, Hyperliquid, Chainlink, 10x, XRP, Avalanche. Realistically, probably not, especially within the next year. There's just so many cryptocurrencies and not enough money coming into the markets. Like, the entire crypto ecosystem would probably have to 100x for these to have that potential of hitting those numbers, which is going to be difficult as new projects launch and new narratives continue to change. So that is always something we want to consider before investing. So with that said, let's jump into one of these. I did a live stream about these 30x coins with Josh, so feel free to watch that. And it's clearly a different list from these 100x potential coins. And all right, we got another ad here. Oh my God, bro, just use Google Sheets. I don't, maybe it's to drive comment engagement by just making the worst list possible. Blue chip, Ethereum, Solana, yeah, we're not going to see those 1000x's, but in a bull market, a lot of value is going to be driven there. And I like Ethereum. I think this is the year. This is the year Ethereum finally starts making up for its years of lagging behind Bitcoin. So this is one of the tier list. Rest in peace, Bitcoin. Oh my God. You need Bitcoin. I'm sorry, you need Bitcoin. You're not going to see 100x gains immediately, but it's going to survive, and there has been demand picking up for that. So that is a terrible pick. Needs massive retail return. I agree with all of these. There just isn't any new users coming over to those protocols or chains. I feel like I've talked about this in the live streams. Chainlink, so many people drank the Kool-Aid there about these oracles and managing traditional finance data, but that has not translated into the token price going up. So a lot of the people that were bullish, like myself in the past, just aren't bullish anymore. So I agree with those picks. Was hot, might not actually be, and Celestia, oh, that is terrible. I think this is Say is starting to pick up. They just had USDC on their chain, and they've been expanding and have an established footprint in New York with a lot of different connections. So I wouldn't count them out. No one uses Story Protocol. I don't know what that is, or maybe this is Celestia. I forget. These icons look all the same. And we went over the blue chips earlier, so higher risk, higher reward. Hyperliquid, a lot of the fees go back into buying the token back and burning, but still less than 1% or 0.1% of the tokens have been burned. So even though the tokenomics sound great, we'll have to wait and see what it looks like a year from now. Ton has been struggling ever since they kind of closed out their ecosystem to specifically Ton projects only. Avalanche, I don't know. I haven't been keeping up with them. Sui, I love it. Sui is doing fantastic. BNB chain does all the volume, so there is always a lot of potential there when you have the users and that money on chain. Tau or BitTensor, a lot of institutional adoption. As an AI user, I don't really use their ecosystem, but I'm not aware of it, so I might have to do a deep dive with my buddy CH, who knows a lot about it. And then we have Sonic, which has rebranded from Phantom, and they've been making some moves. Now, I'm really surprised Base isn't here, but Base you can't actually invest in yet just because they don't have a token, but they do have a very strong ecosystem. So I agree with most of these, but of course we need that fine-tuned opinion to understand, like, all right, what is this ecosystem? Why do we want to get involved with it? Where are the opportunities? When you're going through coins this fast, it's just going to be tough. And then you have that for meme coins. I think S tier is Pudgy Penguins. they're making so many waves with traditional finance, traditional brands, that it's a cute penguin, it's an NFT, it's a coin, that they have such good marketing and distribution and access that there's a reason why the coin has been pumping so much the last few months. And as for the other ones, I'm not a fan of most of them. So, it really depends on attention when it comes to meme coins. Who's getting the attention? And do we think more people are going to buy in if it gets more attention? So, we have to look at the potential of new users coming in, buying those bags to pump up the price. And then for DeFi, you have Aerodrome, Sky, Hyperliquid, Chainlink. I don't know what that is. Jupiter, Curve, Athena, Uniswap, PancakeSwap. A lot of that money does not flow back into their token. There's definitely revenue for those protocols, but not for token holders. So I would be careful for most of these DeFi coins. If you're looking for opportunity, you look for the new protocols that are building on chain, whether it's a new blockchain or an existing one. And then if you get an airdrop, that could be the opportunity to be early and get 100x returns. That is the play when you are going to get into DeFi, which is a little more complicated if you are new to crypto and a lot more dangerous. But we can walk through these things. I do a lot of live streams and tutorials, and the community helps. I know I keep plugging it, but I just have to because it's quiet and I'm too active in there. So I was like, all right, we need more people in there. Then we have the big ABC, Alex Becker's channel. Yes, stupid, buy altcoins now. So let's take a look at some of the picks. I don't disagree with these, like, has an aggressive personality, but some of it is pretty well thought out, except for Destra Network. That one is absolute trash. I would not touch that one. There's so many competitors when it comes to decentralized computing power, and there's just no demand for it. This guy has a lot of lists. I saw another video which had good picks, but oh, this is a different one. They have a lot of picks. So let's take a look at Vertical AI, 25 million fully diluted market cap. It's already fully diluted with less than a million in volume. Been around since the end of last year. And we'll take a look at the website. Imagine it, build it, prompt it. Use and customize a wide variety of popular AI models in one place. No coding experience required. Now, there are a lot of Web 2 solutions that I already use for this, and they're cheap. So if that's what this is, then you don't really need it. Nope, I don't like it. And that's because I am a big fan of different AI projects. They keep evolving every other month, and they cost pennies to use. So no one who's deeply involved in AI would use a Web3 service that isn't getting those updates, that doesn't have that competitive pricing, and that requires additional hurdles like a token. So already not a fan, and this is one of the type of projects that will get that attention right away and then kind of fade away over time. But if a couple YouTubers make a video about it, it could start getting attention again. And that is the one thing that drives price the most: attention and speculation. So I'll say it, that's a trash pick, and we're not going to touch that one. So Clearpool, I know this one. I've heard it for years. It's been around for a while, so let's take a look. Oh god damn. Yeah, you don't want to touch this one. This is called a dead coin, and they never come back from the dead. This is something we wish would come back because we're holding those bags, but in practice that doesn't happen unless it has new things to drive attention to it, to drive value to it. And let's see, $126 million market cap, almost fully diluted already. We check out the website, find out what this thing is. Clearpool Finance, the decentralized credit marketplace. I mean, traditional finance is getting back into this, backed by Sequoia, Wintermute, Arrington Capital, Hashkey. Yeah, that's pretty good. I don't know if this will drive demand back into the markets. I think there is some potential with the recent narratives and traditional finance, but we'll have to try out the product and get a better feel for what it is. And at least with the app, we have some information. Almost $1 billion of loans generated, $500,000 in total revenue generated, which isn't a lot. I think like Pump Fund does that in a day, which obviously that is a rare exception. But if they've been around for over a year, that probably doesn't cover the cost of all the headcounts and people operating the protocol. So we'll have to wait and see if this starts getting some attention. Not terrible, has some potential, but when it comes to lending pools and credit, that's not what drives demand. That doesn't get people excited. So I don't think this would be like 100x gain. Maybe it's like 5 to 10x in this type of market. But I don't think you're going to see 100x gains because all these degenerates are like, yes, decentralized credit. Let's get it, guys. Oh, they're so excited about credit being decentralized. And, that's what we talk about, narratives and marketing. That's what drives the price to go up or down. So we need people to be excited about different projects or to actually like and use these things. And something like Clearpool would be in its test stages for now. And I know 50% up in the last month sounds great, but that's most of the market. So holding most of these cryptocurrencies, you're going to get exposure to the pumps of the market. He also said Theta Network. I don't know. Maybe they're sponsoring? Let's see. These coins are not safe investments. Most of them do nothing. These are high-risk bets on crypto narratives for fast and short-term profits, which means you should probably hold this a week, a month, maybe a couple weeks. We'll see. But yeah, you got to read these disclaimers. He says it too. I plan to sell all my coins at some point. I will not announce it. So actually, these are really good disclaimers. And you kind of have to understand that any information you get from YouTube, from X, from the comment section, which is the worst place to get crypto news, that it's very short term. So please consider that before investing in crypto. And that also applies to this channel. Any information I provide might be good for a month. Anything after that is just history. It's just like, all right, things change so much in crypto that whatever I said back then may no longer be relevant as things have changed. Now, there were a lot more coins to cover, but we're not covering them. I know this video is pretty long already, and I appreciate that you hung out for all of it, right? If you're seeing this, you probably watched the whole thing, which I do appreciate. And if you appreciate the content, feel free to hit that like button. That does help this channel out. And maybe we'll cover more coins in the future. So let me know which coins you want covered, where we see the pros, cons, and momentum, and maybe why it might work, why it might not work. So leave a comment in the description. If you see someone commenting the same coin over and over, that's absolutely spam. It is a bot, and it's really hard to ban them on YouTube. So be aware of that. That's why I say, do not trust the comments for financial investing advice. That is the worst place to get your information. And if you're looking for a solid crypto community, feel free to join mine. Link is in the description. It is free right now, could change in the future. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. I hope you got your full value for today. That is the correct sign off.